Cathy Engelbert isn't just under fire from the players anymore. She is reportedly facing a silent revolt from the people who actually sign her paychecks. The surface narrative you see on ESPN is that the WNBA commissioner is the villain of the players' union, the corporate suit telling Angel Reese and Breanna Stewart to be grateful for charter flights. But the reality is much darker. According to leaked reports and anonymous comments from league ownership groups, Engelbert is being accused of selling out the league's long-term future to secure a short-term cash-out. We're talking about a hidden financial mechanism involving expansion fees, a questionable equity structure from 2022, and a media rights deal that might actually be a trap. By the end of this video, I'm going to answer 3 questions that the WNBA league office is terrified you'll ask. First, what specific financial move did Engelbert make with the new expansion teams that has original owners claiming they were robbed? Second, how does the new $2.2 billion media deal actually hurt specific WNBA franchises while lining the pockets of the NBA league office? And finally, is Cathy Engelbert actually preparing to exit with a massive golden parachute before the 2026 lockout destroys the league? Here's the receipt that changes everything. Look at this timeline from September 2024. Napheesa Collier, the face of the Minnesota Lynx and a notoriously head-leveled superstar, dropped a bombshell. She revealed that in a private conversation, Engelbert allegedly told her that WNBA players should be on their knees thanking the league for their current situation. That quote went viral for the disrespect. But the real story is what happened 5 days later. An anonymous WNBA owner told ESPN, quote, "If I had a vote, I would probably ask for a replacement." Why does that matter? Because owners don't care about disrespect. They care about asset value. And they just realized that Cathy Engelbert might be damaging the goods. Let's look at the first major crack in the foundation, the racism interview. It is September 2024. The WNBA is in the middle of the most profitable regular season in its history. Ratings are up 170%. Merchandise is up 500%. All Cathy Engelbert has to do is go on CNBC and take a victory lap. Instead, she goes on Power Lunch and completely fumbles a softball question about the racist harassment directed at players like Angel Reese in Lake and Carrington. She calls it a rivalry and compares it to Bird versus Magic. The backlash was instant. The WNBPA issued a statement calling her leadership hollow. But here is the financial payout no one talked about. According to Sports Business Insiders, that interview didn't just annoy players, it spooked corporate sponsors. WNBA teams make the majority of their money from local corporate sponsorships, not national TV deals. When the commissioner makes the league look toxic and refuses to condemn racism, brands like CarMax or fierce local partners get nervous. They don't want to be associated with the culture war. They want to sell cars. When Engelbert failed to protect the brand safety of the league, she directly threatened the revenue streams of the individual owners. You had team presidents doing damage control, issuing their own statements to distance themselves from their own commissioner. That is not a functional business hierarchy. That is a mutiny. But a bad interview is forgivable. Stealing equity is not. This brings us to the most shocking part of this story, the one the league is desperate to bury. We need to talk about the expansion fee shell game. Rehook. You've heard about the Golden State Valkyries, Toronto, and Portland coming to the WNBA. But do you know where that money actually goes? In October 2024, it was reported that the new expansion fees for teams entering the league have skyrocketed to $250 million. That is a massive number. For context, the Seattle Storm were valued at $151 million just a year ago. So where does that $250 million check go? If you think it goes to the players to increase salaries, you are wrong. If you think it goes to the existing teams to build better practice facilities, you are mostly wrong. Here is the cap table. Reality. The WNBA is owned 42% by the 30 NBA owners, 42% by the legacy WNBA owners, and 16% by outside investors from a 2022 capital raise. When a new team pays a $250 million expansion fee, that is technically a purchase of equity. That cash is distributed to the existing shareholders. This means a massive chunk of that money flows directly back to the NBA Board of Governors, the men who appointed Cathy Engelbert. Critics are now arguing that Engelbert's primary job hasn't been to grow the WNBA for the sake of the WNBA. It's been to pump up the valuation of these expansion fees to secure a liquidity event for the NBA owners. She is essentially selling off pieces of the league at a premium. Why are the legacy WNBA owners livid? Because of dilution. As more teams enter, the slice of the revenue pie for existing teams gets smaller. If the league adds 3 more teams by 2028 as planned, the original franchises have to split the national TV money 16 ways instead of 12. Unless the revenue pie grows faster than the number of teams, the fierce independent owners like the group running the Seattle Storm or the Aces are technically losing leverage. Engelbert is selling the furniture to pay the rent, and the long-term owners are realizing the house is getting crowded. Now let's go to the golden handcuffs, the $2.2 billion media deal. In July 2024, the WNBA announced its new rights deal with Disney, Amazon, and NBC. The headline number was $2.2 billion over 11 years. That sounds like a win. It averages out to about $200 million a year. But let's look at the receipt. The NBA's deal is $76 billion. The WNBA is getting crumbs from the master table. Here is why this is a betrayal. The WNBA deal was bundled with the NBA deal. Engelbert did not take the WNBA to the open market as a standalone asset. She let the NBA negotiate on her behalf. Many experts believe the WNBA, with the explosion of Caitlin Clark and the rookie class, is currently undervalued. By locking the league into an 11-year deal right now, Engelbert has capped the league's growth potential until 2036. If the WNBA doubles in popularity again next year, they can't ask for more money. They're locked in. The WNBA owners know this. They look at the NWSL, women's soccer, which negotiated a $240 million deal completely independently. They realized that by staying attached to the NBA, they lost their ability to control their own destiny. Engelbert played it safe to please her NBA bosses rather than betting on the women's game. And that leads to the payout, the impending CBA disaster. The WNBPA, the players' union, officially opted out of the collective bargaining agreement in October 2024. This sets up a potential lockout or strike after the 2025 season. The players are not asking for a little raise. They're asking for a complete overhaul of the economic model. Currently, the WNBA players only receive a share of incremental revenue, meaning they only get a cut if the league hits almost impossible financial targets. In the NBA, players get about 50% of all basketball-related income. Engelbert has publicly stated that the league's economic model is different. She cites the $75 million capital raise from 2022 as evidence that they are still in startup mode. But receipts from the players' side show the deception. The league claims it is losing money, yet franchise values have gone from $10 million to $500 million in 5 years. You cannot claim poverty while selling franchises for $250 million. This is where the secret exit plan theory comes in. Corporate governance experts will tell you that CEOs often have compensation packages tied to equity value, not operating profit. If Cathy Engelbert's bonus structure is tied to the valuation of the league, which she successfully pumped to $1 billion via the capital raise and the expansion fees, she hits her payday regardless if the league is profitable or if the players are happy. The theory circulating in front offices is that Engelbert is engineered to hit these valuation targets, secure the expansion checks for the NBA owners, and then exit before the 2026 CBA war truly begins. She gets the golden parachute, the next commissioner gets the mess. So where does this leave us today? The owners are currently fractured. You have the NBA-affiliated owners like the Knicks and Liberty or Pacers and Fever who benefit from the bundled deals. Then you have the independent owners who feel they are being suffocated by a league office that serves the NBA first and the WNBA second. The anonymous owner who threatened to fire Engelbert represents a growing faction that realizes the current leadership is a liability. They see the players' revolt not as a nuisance, but as a symptom of a broken business model that Engelbert refuses to fix because it doesn't align with her exit strategy. To summarize the situation, Cathy Engelbert is accused of managing the WNBA like a private equity flip. She pumped the valuation with expansion fees, locked in a safe but limited media deal to satisfy the NBA, and alienated the labor force to the point of a strike. The owners are livid because they're left holding the bag of a PR nightmare while the league office cashes the checks. Here's the final reality check. The WNBA is growing in spite of its leadership, not because of it. The Caitlin Clark effect masked a lot of incompetence in 2024, but in 2025, the curtain is being pulled back. If you want to understand exactly how the salary cap screws the players and why the revenue sharing clause is practically a scam, you need to see the deep dive on the CBA mechanics. I put that in the Locker Room Confidential playlist right here on the screen. Click that and I'll see you there.